Hello everybody and welcome to another live stream. So my name's Phil and you're watching the IELTS Grind. Just while I get set up, let's talk about a few things. Okay, so first thing is, if you're joining us for the first time, let's talk about the schedule. So here at the IELTS Grind, we're going live. We're doing live lessons, corrections and things like this for the entire month, 6 days a week. And today we've got a change. So originally we were going to do some writing, but today we're going to do some mock speaking tests. Okay, but you can see the schedule for the rest of the week if you come to the website, the IELTSGrind.com, and click on live stream schedule, and you'll find us there. And of course, in between, if you want to come and have a look at any of the videos, you can find that on our on our YouTube channel, I should say, and we got plenty of videos for you to watch. So what we're going to do today is a little bit different. We haven't done this before. We're going to attempt to do some live speaking tests. Okay, we're going to have a Zoom conversation and hopefully this will work. So if you do want to join us, you can find the information. I will put it into the live chat, which I will do now. Let's pop that out and we'll have a look at that. So let me put this into the live chat. Just bear with me while I do this. So you will find, if we come to the video, there we go. So in the description we have the link to the live stream, to the Zoom rather. So I'll put that into the chat. And there's a password as well, because we need a password apparently. So if you're brave enough and you would like to talk to me to do a mock speaking test, we will try and do as many people as we can, but the Zoom account that we have is actually a free one, and that limits us to 40-minute meetings. So we can either do 2 full tests for 2 people, or we can do lots of mini tests. But this won't be the last time we do this. So for you that want to jump on this, you can join the meeting and I'll try and talk to as many people as I can. Okay. So before we do that, let's just talk a little bit about the speaking test. Okay, just a few tips for you. And what I'll do is I will put my camera back on. There we go. I think you can see my face now. Okay, so let's, just before we get started, we're going to talk about a few key ideas. Okay, so the speaking exam, we're going to review the exam structure for speaking. We're going to talk about some tips for answering questions, tips for brainstorming part 2 prompts, and what to expect in part 3. Okay, so understanding the speaking exam structure is very important. Hi Naz, how are you? Are you going to join me in the live stream on Zoom today? Are you going to be one of the people doing the live speaking test? I hope so. Okay, so we've got part 1 of the speaking test. This is about 4 to 5 minutes normally. You should expect interview type questions about familiar topics. So the questions in part 1 are things that you already know about. They're not going to be a surprise. It's things that you can come up with an answer for very quickly. And the examiner asks 3 sets of topics with 4 questions. So you should expect up to 12 questions. There may be less, but there won't be more than 12 questions. And this takes about 4 to 5 minutes. Part 2 is about 3 to 4 minutes. And you should expect a prompt about a common topic. So again, it's going to be something that you should know about. And you'll have to speak about this on your own for 1 to 2 minutes. But you have 1 minute to prepare. So we'll be talking about what to do in that 1 minute later on. And part 3, again, about 4 to 5 minutes. So you should expect a similar question to the topic in part 2, at least for the first set of questions. So if your part 2 was about art, then in part 3, the first few questions will probably be about art, but in a more general way, sort of expanding on that topic. And so yeah, you'll have some general questions, and there should be 1 to 3 topics, depending on what the examiner does. But they are trying to test your boundaries. They will be trying to push you a little bit by asking you questions which are not in the script. So this is why when other students post all the questions they've just had in the exam, it's pretty useless, particularly with part 3, because the questions are always different. They are never the same. And the questions that one examiner asks may not be the same as another one. So this is what to expect. So how to answer questions. So the way you want to do this is, if we had a question like, what is a popular sport in your country? You want to answer the question directly with your first sentence, because that's the way we do it in English. Then you provide supporting sentences to back up what you said. So for example, so what is a popular sport in your country? Something which a lot of people are keen on here is football. So I've answered the question directly. Football is a popular sport. I go on to provide supporting sentences. That is to say that most kids learn how to play it at school, and most adults have a team that they support. I'd also say that people get pretty patriotic during international games, such as when the World Cup is on. So yeah, I'd say that football is the national pastime in the UK and pretty popular. So what I do here is I answer the question directly. I provide some supporting details. Why is it popular? Because people learn about it at school and they have a team that they support. Furthermore, I talk about the fact that it's something that people get patriotic about. They support their country when they're playing in an international tournament. And then at the end, what I do is summarize my answer and refer back to the question. If you ever find that you're running out of things to say, or you don't know how to end your answer, a little summary bringing you back to the original question is a good way of doing it. So yeah, I say that football is the national pastime in the UK and pretty popular. It's a nice way to end it. Part 2 tips. So for example, we might have describe a popular sport in your country. There are 2 ways that Michael and I kind of talk about with our students. You may have heard of them. There's the question method and there's the story method. So with the question method, you're going to spend 1 minute writing down as many partial questions as possible. You're literally writing down notes for questions which you then go on to answer one after the other. And it doesn't actually matter if the questions are connected, not if you need to get a 6.5. So what I mean by a partial question is like when, what, cost, feelings. This might mean when do people play the sport? What are some of the pieces of equipment we need to play the sport? how much does the sport cost to play? What do people feel about the sport? So those longer questions can be shortened to when, what, cost, feelings, because it's much quicker to write those down than full questions. So the question method is a good one. You can practice this and you can develop lots and lots of questions that can be applied to many different types of topics. The story method is good when you instantly think about a story connected to the prompt. So this is best when it's something very familiar to you. Not necessarily the most recent sport that you've played, but maybe one that you played in your childhood. Okay. So what you do during your minute is you make notes to help you tell the story. But you also want to consider the grammar and vocabulary. The problem is, if the story's in the past and you only use past tense, you won't be able to show your grammatical range and accuracy. So do try to consider that so you can use lots of different grammar. Okay, but these are two methods that you can use for part 2 prompts, the question method and the story method. And let's quickly talk about part 3. Why is part 3 so hard? So, abstract questions. So the questions in part 3 are not like in part 1. You've probably never thought of them before, and you may not have an answer ready to go. So it's okay to give yourself time to think by saying, that's an interesting question, or I've never thought about that before, or I don't know exactly, let me think for a minute. If you say things like this, you can buy yourself time while you form an answer, and it shows the examiner that you did understand the question, but that you just need a little bit of time to think of the answer and not think of the words. The other thing that makes part 3 a little bit hard is follow-up questions. So if, for example, I answered a question where I said, in London, food is very cheap and people often buy food out in restaurants. Now the examiner might focus on what I've just said, and they might say, you mentioned restaurants in London, and then they will ask a particular question about that. Do people generally leave a tip when they go to a restaurant? So the question is not in the list of questions they have, but they are trying to test your level by expanding on something that you've said. If this happens, it's a really good thing, especially if the question is becoming more difficult, because the examiner thinks you're a higher level. They're just trying to test that. But this can make part 3 tricky because you cannot predict the answer. As I said before, I see students leaving comments in Facebook groups. These are the questions I had in part 3, and it's absolutely useless to the next student because the questions will never be exactly the same. And the other thing is, in part 3, you need to know how to extend your answer. It's not like in part 1. You need to show that you can talk at length about unfamiliar topics, especially if you're aiming for band 7 and above. So if you can talk at length and give not an extended answer but a full answer in part 1 about a familiar topic, and in part 2, this is great for up to band 6. But if you can show that you're comfortable talking about part 3 questions, this can help you get a higher score in the fluency and coherence. Okay, so those are just some tips to do with the speaking. Okay, so now let's see how many people are interested in talking to me live. Okay, so what I'm going to do is see if this works. I've not tried to do this live before, but we'll try. Okay. And let's see if we can get this to work.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Okay, so I should have tested all this before, but we'll see what we can do. Hopefully, we'll be able to hear people talking, even if we don't necessarily see anyone on screen. Yeah. So if you're interested in joining me live, then we will do that. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time trying to get this working. This is where I should have tested everything before. Hello, Raghav. Can everyone still hear me in the live stream? So if you have a look, you should be able to see in the chat that we've got you've got the invitation to the Zoom meeting, and there should be a password. So who would like to join me, and we'll go through and we'll try and do a mock speaking test live. So I should say that if you join us live, then obviously this is going to be on YouTube, and we may use the recording later on, so just be aware that's what's going to happen. So if you don't want to be on the internet, then I wouldn't recommend joining us. But if you don't mind, if you want to experience a speaking test and get some feedback, then that's what we'll do. So is anyone trying to get into the Zoom call and having any issues? So let me try and put this into the chat. So we're trying this for the first time. Yeah, so if you join us on Zoom, this is the best way for us to do it right now. We can always try a different method on a different day. Yeah, so I think if you click on the link in the description, you should be able to join us. And there's a password as well, which I've put into the chat. I'll put it in there again. There we go. Okay. So we'll try and get this going. So, as I said, we're limited to just 40 minutes in this account at the moment, but maybe in the future we'll get one of those professional ones where we have unlimited time. So, Raghav, are you saying that you're having... Okay, you got... Okay, well, I've got Jesse. Okay, let's see if we can talk to Jesse. Okay. Okay, so Jesse's joined us in Zoom. Let's see if we can say hello. So yeah, if we can't do the mock test today for some of you because of the technology, we will arrange another day and get that sorted. We'll try and do some mock tests for as many people as want to join. So hopefully we can talk to Jesse today. It's kind of exciting to see how this works. So as long as we can get the audio working for Jesse, that's okay. We don't need to do cameras. If you don't want to show your face, that's absolutely fine. Oh no, we've lost Jesse. So just while we're waiting for people to join the Zoom call, let me just give you a couple questions to think about. Okay. So, good, Jesse's coming back in. Let's see if it works. So the thing to remember about part 1 is it's always going to be either about work and study, or it's going to be about hometown, neighborhood, that sort of thing. So you should always expect those questions first. Okay, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, so let's see if we can talk to Jesse. Exactly what we're going to do. Okay. Okay, so let's see if we can talk to... I can hear my own voice. Jesse, are you there? What we're going to do. Okay. Is there any chance, Jesse, that you could put headphones on or something so I don't hear my voice? Or let's...
I have stopped the YouTube.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Okay. So where are you joining us from, Jesse?
Where?
Yeah.
Just from YouTube.
And which country are you in?
Oh, I'm from Taiwan.
Oh, also from Taiwan. Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Right. So, are you ready to do a mock speaking test?
Yes, because I'm going to get the IELTS test.
You're taking it soon?
I'm preparing for that.
Okay, excellent. Okay, well, let's go through it. I'm going to ask you some questions, and the thing to be aware is this mock test is going to be a little bit different to what you'll have in the real test, just because I'm going to ask you about different topics, whereas in the real test, all the topics are kind of related, okay? This is just to help you test your boundaries, okay? So it's going to be a little bit different in the real test, but this is a good practice, Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So remember, if at any point you don't hear what I say, you can ask me to repeat. If you don't understand a word, you can ask me to actually explain the word. And if you don't quite understand the question, I can rephrase it. You can ask those three things and it won't affect your score. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's get started. Right. So let's start by talking about your neighborhood. Okay. So what is it like?
What is like for my neighborhood?
Yeah.
I live in New Taipei City, and near my house, there are some mountains, and I live under mountains. And because this day is a little bit hot, so I just look some voice just like me.
Okay. And what are the facilities available in your neighborhood?
Facilities around. There is a gym just across the road from my house, and next to the gym there is a park. Because of COVID-19, so nobody can get there.
Oh, okay. And what would you change about your neighborhood?
If my neighborhood could be changed, I would like to change. I would like to hope that there is a better transportation, just like if there could get some MRT. It's metro, so it will be better if I can get an MRT station.
Okay. And is it a good place for young people?
Actually, I don't think this place will be good for young people because if 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 they want to go to work, they will take more time to commute. So I think it's a little bit inconvenient.
Okay. So I'd like to talk about keeping fit and healthy now. Do you lead a healthy lifestyle?
Yes, I think it's a great important issue for everyone because nowadays, no matter for the pandemic or just for our healthy, I think keep a healthy life is very important for everyone.
And what do you do to keep fit?
Keep fit. Uh, Sometimes I just go hiking or just do some easy exercise at home because we cannot go to the gym now.
Have you ever had any habits which you consider to be unhealthy?
Oh, I think actually, I usually overnight, so it's not good for my health.
Okay.
Yes, that's
Is fitness or a healthy diet more important to you?
um. In my opinion, I think have a good exercise habit is very important because I have already did eat healthily. So I think what I can do more is do more exercise.
Okay, let's move on and talk about celebrations.
Okay.
Do you enjoy celebrating your birthday?
Last year, sometimes I celebrated my birthday with my friends or families. But this year, because my birthday have not so I haven't celebrated for my birthday.
Okay, so let's move on. I'm going to show you a part 2 prompt on the screen. So hopefully, can you see this screen now on YouTube? If
Please
not,
let me.
I'm gonna try and share my screen on here.
Okay.
So hopefully, can you see it on Zoom?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so I'd like you to describe a present you gave to someone. Okay, and you're going to have to talk about this for 1 to 2 minutes. But before you start speaking, I'll give you 1 minute to think about what you'd like to say, and you can take some notes if you'd like. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, so you can start thinking what you'd like to say now. Okay, so remember you have to talk about this for 1 to 2 minutes, and if I stop you, that's absolutely okay. So I'd like you to start talking now, please.
Okay. Today I'm going to talk about the present I gave to my friends. It's a glove, a piece of glove, and the reason why I gave the present to my friend is that because her hands is a little bit sensitive, so she always gets hurt for her hands. So I think it's a useful present to her. And moreover, the reason why I give the gloves to her is that because she always ride her motorcycle to everywhere. So especially in winter, it's a good thing for her to prevent cold wind. And it's a special gift for her, I think, because she think that it's great to use and can use it for a long time. And the gloves I gave her is a lot of just like plots, some cute plots on it, and there is an animal, which is her favorite animal. It's just like dog. So I think this.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
What color were the gloves?
It's a purple and red color.
Okay, excellent. Right, so let's move on. So we were talking about a present you gave someone, but let's talk about celebrations in general. Is it important to celebrate family events?
Celebrate for family.
Yeah, is it important to celebrate family events? For example, anniversaries.
Family events. I think it's important to celebrate because it's a kind of way to improve the relationship with family. So I think it's important.
Okay. What are the main reasons why people organise family parties in your country?
Potting.
Yeah, what are the main reasons why people organise family parties in your country?
Part. For example, Dragon Boat Festival is a great important festival in Taiwan. So I think this festival for Taiwanese family, they will do some rice dumpling or prepare some food to their essence, and we will do some just like reunion with relatives. So it's a
Okay,
kind of
so
celebration.
so you mentioned rice dumplings there. Why exactly do people eat rice dumplings during Dragon Boat Festival?
It can be traced by the history story because there are some stories like that. There is a point for a long time ago, and he jumped into the river to want to suicide. So the other people want to save him, so they made the rice dumpling and threw into the river to prevent him be bitten by fish. So that is why people will start to eat rice dumpling.
Okay, so now let's turn and talk about exercise. Okay, what are some popular ways to keep fit in your country?
In my country, some people would go will go jogging or go hiking for keep health. And there are also a large number of people to go to gym for some exercise, just like yoga or dance or do some fitness facilities.
So you mentioned yoga. Has yoga become more popular in Taiwan in recent years?
Actually, in Taiwan, more and more people do yoga because of um because they think it's more slight and you don't have to do some intensive uh, ways to and can get a better way to exercise. So it become more and more popular.
Okay. Do you think there will be more or less illness in the future?
Illness.
Yes.
Um, I think because people always people become more and more focused on exercise and healthy products. So through keep eating and keep a healthy food habit, it will help people to get away from illness. So, in my opinion, I think there will be less illness in the future.
Okay, thank you. That's the end of the speaking test. How do you feel about that, Jesse?
Messy,
Yeah.
because I'm not and I didn't prepare anything. I just want to try, and I don't think it's me.
That's absolutely fine. I think you did very, very well, actually. So you were able to talk about the familiar topics, and you were able to talk about the more unfamiliar topics, and there wasn't too much that you found difficult. So I think that was very good. So just a few little tips. So first of all, I mean, I've worked in Taiwan for a long time, so I'm used to Mandarin speakers. And one thing that you don't do is you don't mispronounce the TH sound in things like think and then and the. Your pronunciation is very good, actually, so that's excellent. A few things that you kind of have problems with is the difference in the words like health, healthy, healthily. Sometimes you, for example, instead of saying it's good for our health, you said it's good for our healthy. So just work on that, the difference between those words. It's also a common error that I hear here in Taiwan. So yeah, just be aware of that. And just really listen to the questions, because the grammar in the questions really, it changes the type of answer that the examiner is expecting. For example, I asked you, let me check the question. I asked you about your birthday. Yeah, I asked you, do you enjoy celebrating your birthday? And you asked me last year, and you were talking about the last time that you celebrated, and you explained that you can't talk about this year because it hasn't been your birthday yet. But the question is in the present simple, do you? So I'm asking in general, and you focused on the past. So just listen carefully to the question, because the grammar in the question tells you the type of answer. So if I asked you, did you enjoy celebrating your birthday? I want to know about the past. Yeah. So little things like that. But overall, I think you did very, very well. And just keep on doing what you're doing. I don't know if you have any questions you'd like to ask me before we try and get another student.
Will you have this periodically?
The live streams?
Yes, live stream.
Yeah, so at the moment we're doing live streams every day, 6 days a week, until the end of the month at least. And you can find, if I show it on YouTube, we have the website, the IELTSGrind.com. And if you go to live stream schedule, you can see that so me, Phil, and Michael, we split it up, and we do different times. So it's normally 7 p.m. Taiwan time in the evenings, or 2 p.m. in the afternoons. And we're doing Monday to Saturday until July at least. But if this is useful, then Michael and I, we will continue to do this. Maybe not 6 days a week, but we will do this as long as it's useful to people. Yeah.
Okay, I hope I will do better for next time. Thank
Cool.
you for your
That's good.
teaching.
That's not a problem. So yeah, join us again if you want to do another mock speaking test in the future. Then you can do that again. So thank you, Jesse. Thanks for being the first
Thank
one.
you so much.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, so hopefully everyone's still with us. So Jesse did very, very well there. Obviously, it's difficult being the first one. So if anyone would like us... so I didn't give... I didn't talk about Jesse's band score just because I like to spend a little bit of time working it out. But I feel like she would definitely fall somewhere between a band 6 and 7 for that. I may have to listen back to it to give the exact score for each marking criteria. But I think that was a very good attempt and very well done, Jesse. Okay, so I can see Nazrin is in the... So let's see if we can do another mock speaking before the Zoom call ends, because it's only going to last for 40 minutes. So when you can, if you can say hello, Nazrin.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you today?
I'm perfectly fine.
Excellent. Okay, so shall we do a mock test? Are you ready?
Sure, sir. Yes, I'm excited.
Okay, let's see how it goes. I'm just going to start a timer so I can
Okay,
try and get the right timing. Right. So let's start by talking about you. Do you work or study?
Well, at the moment, I am studying to be a software engineer. I attend a university in my local town, and I am in my penultimate year. And for futures, I am looking for a job in this sector.
Okay. So why did you choose your subject?
Because the first reason is I was interested in them. I really want to work in a large multinational corporation. So I think this is one of the best subject that I have choose, and I am interested in this subject as well.
Okay. Can you tell me about your fellow students, classmates?
Well, there are numerous of students in my class, but I like only I have only 4 my best friends, and they are really sportive and caring, and we also do a lot of parties with each other.
Okay. What is the hardest thing about your course?
Well, there is nothing hardest, but the math is one of the major subject in this, and there are 5 books of math, so I am like in which I have typically involved myself. So I think math is one of the hardest subjects in my studies, and it includes a lot of like calculations and the algebra. So this is the hardest section, I think.
Okay. Are there any skills you don't need for your course?
Well, yes, there are a few skills like the uh, activities such as other curriculum activities such as arts and crafts, and which I really don't like. One of the interesting thing about my subject is it do not include history or any past like, past history about anything for anything or any subject. So I like this because it is based upon practical and knowledge, and I really enjoy to like, have. I really enjoy to interact with the computers and programming language. So that is most interesting part, I guess.
Okay. So now let's talk about the weather. What seasons do you have in your country?
Well, the weather is really pleasant in my country, and we are experiencing a rainy weather these days. And like yesterday, it was just perfect yesterday, and we have raining here.
Okay. What's your favorite season?
Well, yes, it is my favorite. Like rainy season is one of my favorite season and weather as well, because there are plenty of things to do, and it. I also would rest from my office because of the rainy season and rainy weather, and I enjoy a lot of dishes and meals at my home, and spend a precious time with my family.
Is your country popular with tourists in every season?
Yes, I must say it is it is very popular among the travelers, and there are numerous of things which allure the attraction of tourists, such as the Taj Mahal and the Golden Temple, which are one of the most historical place in my country.
Okay, let's turn to the subject of shoes. Do you like shoes?
Yes, I like shoes. I have like a number of collections of shoes, but nowadays my mother always told me that if you purchase another pair of shoes, I will beat you because we don't have enough space to put the shoes in my room, and so I used to purchase a lot of shoes, but now I declined purchasing shoes day by day. But I really like the shoes because those are like one of the major part of your personality or your dressing sense.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now, and we're going to talk about part two. So just give me a moment while I do this. Yeah. So just give me a moment. I will share this so you can see it. Okay. Can you see that on screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'd like you to describe a dress or shirt you wore for a special occasion. You're going to talk about this for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you start talking, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you'd like to say, and you can take some notes if you'd like. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to give you 1 minute to think about what you'd like to say now, and then afterwards you'll have to talk for 1 to 2 minutes. So you can start writing now. Okay, so I'd like you to start talking now, and if I interrupt you, don't worry about that. So can you start talking now, please?
Yes, this dress that I wore that I purchased on one of the special event that was the birthday party of my younger brother. Actually, it was his first. It was my uh, first present that I give myself after scoring the flying colors in my senior secondary education. So that's why it was special for me, and it is a really special and royal gown, and which is extremely expensive, and it took 10,000 rupees, Indian rupees, and the special occasion, as I mentioned earlier, the special occasion was the birthday party of my younger brother. He gave this party at one of the really restaurants. which is a luxurious restaurant in the sector 22. The name of the restaurant is uh, the Oyo restaurant, and it is one of the most popular restaurant in my hometown. And and the reason I why I choose those that dress to wear on that day, that special day, is because he invited one of the uh, famous and renowned Bollywood singer on his birthday, and that was the reason I wore this gown. And this gown is made of fabric, and a lot of stones are giving a great look to it. And after wearing this, I was looking like a princess, and my all the my friends are praising me that you are like a princess of any kingdom. And it gives me a confidence, and that I look like a like I it gives me confidence that I look like a princess, or any type of an actress, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Do you still wear that dress now?
Well, I want to wear that dress, but there is after the pandemic, we haven't go to any places. So, well, I want to wear this dress, but I haven't wear it yet after that occasion.
Okay, so we were talking about something you wore. Let's talk about clothes in general. What do you think the clothes we wear say about us?
Well, it is incredibly difficult question because I haven't think about it yet. I think it shows our personality, and the clothes that we wear is based upon our personality and our choice, and what it reflects our the mood. If we wear the bright and the luxurious clothes, and we feel royal in it. So I think it might be the reason.
Okay. Do you think that brand name is very important for clothes sales?
Well, most of people like to purchase the brands of brands things, but brands do not matter for me. I purchase only those things which I really like. In a market, I go once in a week. So whatever I like, I purchase it, and I haven't get a bad thinking about those things that I have purchased till now. So I think it is pretty nice to not think about the brands, or choose just what you want or what your desire for. And but it is matter for some people who are living a luxurious life because
So,
they want to showcase their
so
personality.
you mentioned shopping in the market. Do most people buy clothes in local markets in your country?
Well, they used to buy clothes or shopping in the local market, but now most of people are shifted to the online platforms for such as the Amazon or Flipkart, uh, uh, because of the that one of the most reason a common reason is pandemic. So I think they are shifting to the online platform.
And what do you think the impact of e-commerce is on these traditional markets?
One of the main impact that is they will get unemployed. Like the local shopkeeper will become unemployed, and which will rapidly rise uh, the rapidly decrease the employment level of the country. And I think it is not one of the thing that country or national or developing country should face.
Okay, I'd like to talk about the weather now. What are some examples of bad weather in the world?
Well, I have not think about those yet, but I think the bad examples are, if I talk about the northern part of India, we experience hurricane in the recent year, which occurs once in a year, and it has a destructive impact on the lives of our people, and also on industrial and economic. Uh,
Okay.
This is more people.
And what is the best way to get accurate information about the weather?
Well, these days, due to the cutting edge of technology, we can predict weather in just 10 or 30 days before the bad weather. So I think it is one of the best invention of the technology. So these days we predict the bad weather, and we take precautions, and we also install the sandbags towards around our home to protect our home and ourselves from the rainiest and from the hurricane or cyclones that we regularly experience.
And so you mentioned using this technology to prevent damage. Do you feel that life is safer now? Are people able to avoid natural disasters more easily?
I think yes, it is without a doubt. It is really quite safe these days, because we predict the bad weather in advance. So as if I talk about a decade ago, and people don't predict the weather, but so they can suffer from the surge of climates or something like a disaster.
Okay, thank you. That's the end of the speaking test. How do you feel about that?
I am nervous at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm completely nervous.
I think that was absolutely excellent. Well done. Very, very good. So there was at no point do I think you had any problem with any of the questions, and you may have noticed that at the end I was trying to push you a little bit with follow-up questions. You know, none of those questions weren't on my list, but I was trying to see if you could think on your feet, and you did a very good job. Yeah. So overall, I think, yeah, in terms of fluency and comprehension on my part, absolutely no problems. I understood everything you were saying at all times. You were using some high-level vocabulary quite a lot, some idioms here and there, which is all very good. There are still just a few little mistakes here and there. Nothing major, but for example, you mentioned you do a lot of parties with people. We have parties. That's the collocation. You mentioned you do things once in a week. We would say once a week or once per week. So it's just little things like that that you could perhaps concentrate on. But to be honest, I think that's very good. I think you would easily be in sort of band 7 to 8, probably closer to band 8 than 7, just from what I heard. The only thing I would recommend is it's with pronunciation, and it's not your accent. It's just that you could work on intonation, and it's one of the easiest things to improve. And all you have to do is put a bit more emotion into what you're saying. So I could hear that you were a little bit nervous, and everything was kind of the same level, and everything kind of sounded like this. But when you're talking about, for example, you had that Bollywood star that came, that's exciting. You can get excited about that. And doing things like that could rapidly push up your pronunciation score. That would be something you could do in the next 20 days. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So what you can do is, if you listen to native speakers on television, watch a series, and you try to mimic us, copy what we say in the same way that we say it. If you do that enough, you'll start to get the same intonation as a native speaker. And you can do this very, very quickly if you do it every day. And that could be a way to really push up your score in that area. But overall, yeah, I think you should be pretty happy with that. There's not much I can say that was wrong with that. Very, very good.
Thank you, sir.
You feel happier?
Yes, sir. Now I'm super happy.
Yeah, very, very good. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. We're going to do some more of these. So if you want to join us again, and we'll do another one in the future, but perhaps I have time for someone else if they want to join us. So thank you for that, Nazarene, and we'll see you again very soon.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much. It is nice to talk to you.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, nice to talk to you too. Okay, talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, sir.
Okay, so hopefully we have a little bit more time on this Zoom call. So if anyone wants to join me, perhaps we'll do just a few questions because it may cut out before we can do an entire test. But if anyone wants to join us, so we've got the information should be in the chat. So I had Nazarene, I had yeah, so we had Jessie as well. So it does work. If anyone wants to jump on and have a quick chat, we'll do a few questions. But yeah, overall, the people that have done the mock test today, the main thing is they talk about everything and they're giving examples. They're expanding on what they're saying. It was all very good. Now, of course, everyone makes little mistakes when they're speaking a second language. I do the same thing when I speak French. So what you should do is when this live stream goes onto the back onto the YouTube channel, Jessie and Nazarene, you can actually listen to it again, and you can listen and say, okay, could I say that in a different way? Was there a mistake there that I can work on? And if you didn't do the mock test today, what you can do is record yourself, okay? What I will do is I will add the questions that I was asking to the description after this goes back onto the channel. And you can ask yourself the questions, you can respond, and if you record yourself, you can often hear mistakes that you don't hear when you're actually speaking. And this is really the best way to improve at home. Record yourself, try and do better the next time, record yourself again, and it's a process like that. Okay, so I don't know if anyone else wants to jump in. Maybe we'll do a few questions from part 1, part 3. See what we've got. Yeah, I think Naz, you did a very, very good job there. I mean, just looking at my notes, some very high level vocabulary here and there. I mean, I like the way you were using idioms, but for example, you used an idiom, you said because you scored with flying colours, you got yourself that new dress. But the expression is to pass something with flying colours, to pass an exam with flying colours. But the thing is, because you're using idiomatic language, even though it was a little bit wrong, you'll get so much credit for that, and it does help push up your score. So if you're not 100% sure of a phrase, use it anyway. And if you want to paraphrase what you've said, this is a good way to make it clear to the examiner that you do know what you're talking about. Because I asked Naz a question about, are there any skills you don't need in your course? And for a while I thought that she'd misunderstood, but then she went on to explain that she doesn't study history and she likes that because she prefers the practical skills. And that was paraphrasing. She didn't say this is a skill I don't need, but she paraphrased the meaning. So then I went, okay, she does understand. And That's why I think she'd get quite a nice score for that. Okay, so it looks like no one wants to jump on to have another mock test with me. So what we will do is Michael and I we'll schedule another mock test in the next couple of days, or another way for us to have a chat online, because this is quite fun actually. I think this is quite useful for you guys. So yeah. Well, I think Jesse, you did very well. If you didn't prepare at all, that's very well done. Yeah, really good. It's not connecting for you. I'm sorry about that. So, do you have a Zoom account, Rakav? Is it not connecting? Because what we'd do is, perhaps if you prefer, I don't know, Google Hangouts or something like that, we can try and arrange it for a different platform, and we can fit you in the next couple of days. If it doesn't work today, you can send us an email, corrections@theartsgrind.com, and we'll try and figure out a way so that we can do it on a different platform. We can even probably just have a call through Facebook or something. We'll figure out a way. So if it doesn't work today, we'll make sure that we do something for you in the next couple of days. Is that okay? Yeah, so if you have found this a useful video, if this is something that works for you, don't forget, give us a like, and we will try and do more things like this. Okay, so we can try a messenger call. Yeah, if you want to just send us an email to make sure we do have your contact details, and depending on if it's Michael or me, we'll do a call. We can do messenger call. We both have Facebook. We can figure it out. Okay, but for now, I'm going to say I'm going to end that meeting. I'm going to say thank you everyone for joining me, and we'll see you again very soon. So just looking at the schedule, so tomorrow we are not having a live stream, but I will be back on Monday, and we'll be looking at some corrections. We may update this schedule to fit in a few more of these live speaking lessons, because I think these are quite fun. So we may change the schedule a bit, but I will see everyone on Monday at 7 p.m. Taiwan time. Thanks everyone for joining me. Well done to Jesse and Naz. Great speaking tests, really well done. I will look at the footage, and perhaps I'll give you more feedback in the future when I can take time to process everything. But for now, I'll say goodbye.